everybody. Welcome back to the Sacred Femme Alchemy Podcast and episode 9 of the Shakti Soul Sessions. I think it's been a very difficult day to actually sit down and record this. I've been feeling the energies a lot since we had our election yesterday, and we all know who the winner is. And I think there's just so much energy going on, so much grief being moved, and it reminded me, and I wrote about this in my social media, it reminded me of the St. Francis prayer, and it talks about being used as an instrument of peace, and that it's better to understand than to be understood. And I am the type of person where I think it's so important to have diversity of thought. I try to not surround myself with a homogenous group of friends that people are like me. I think that's why I loved 12-step community so much, is because what it really did, what it taught me, was you place principles before personalities. So what you believe in, all of those things, it was about unifying those polarities, those diverse thoughts of opinion, or taking other people's opinions into account and learning to expand your mindset. And I think now more than ever, it's so important for us to truly understand. We can't change what the results are, whomever you voted for, right? This isn't going to be some lecture on like, why did you vote for that, or why I believe in that. Like, I just don't believe in disclosing anything. But I think the most important thing and the most important takeaway is, how will you move forward? And I truly believe that even though we have our differences, there is a lot of contention. There are people that are very upset. There are people that are very excited. There are people that are very scared. Like, it's just a whole bag of emotions today. And I think we're all just kind of sluggishly moving through it. Like, I even had a podcast interview today where I was interviewing someone, and it was just like the energies were just a lot for, including myself, especially in the US. And I think they're just, and I've been listening to different podcasts. I have not been on TikTok, to say I have not, just because I've deleted it, and really just don't want to go down that rabbit hole today and just waste hours and hours of being on that, being fed different information, being fed different opinions. And I think it's just so important for us to stay grounded in, how do we come together, right? It's so easy to point fingers. Who won? Why, a certain party won? Why, and then just being surprised about other people. And the one thing that I always come back to is principles before personalities and understanding. And I have some friends that are from different parties that I am in, and they voted differently. I voted differently, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be their friend because I don't align. And you can come at me for this. You can be like, oh, well, if your friend voted like this, and that must mean that they have these type of moralities and values and da-da-da, and it means this and that, and da-da-da. But and I'm getting like really heated right now talking about it, but it's coming back to center. It's coming back to that neutral point of learning to understand. And I have conversations, I have discussions. I don't have arguments with my friends over why they voted a certain way. I don't. I try to understand them. I try to understand their perspective. And sometimes they don't get along with their own family members because they have different political affiliations. And, instead of pointing the finger at someone of how they could vote a certain way or how could they not vote a certain way, is this an opportunity? Can we look at it as an opportunity to think about, what are the learning lessons from it? Right? Honestly, from my perspective, I think about it as like, wow. I think about it also from a manifestation, experience of the impossible is possible. And you truly don't know. You truly don't know. It's like you see a person that believes in himself so much, and it's the conviction. It's, wow, a person that it's inciting a lot of things, a person that touched and moved and inspired a lot of people to create a certain outcome. And I think there's actually a lot of lessons we can take from it from a strategic perspective, learning to listen to other people and understanding their challenges, right? And what happens when we ignore people and don't listen to what is actually going on and sort of just living in this fantasy that everything's going to be okay. I'm going down a different tangent. But if anything, at the end of the day, it's, take whatever time you need to process what's going on. Take whatever time you need to do what you need to do to make you feel better, self-care, whether you're elated about the outcome, whether you're disheartened and grieving about the outcome, whether you're surprised, whether you're not surprised, whether you have faith, whether you don't have faith, and just really try and think and understand, okay, everybody can learn lessons and on all of this and whatever your lessons are supposed to be. But I think it's just more of how do we come to understand each other so that there isn't that more of a division. There's already a division when we think about just life in such binary terms, but we can't live like that in order to create progress, in order to create movement. And if anything, if this incites you to be a leader in whatever industry, whatever world you're living in, whatever family, whatever community it is, maybe this is the kick that you need to actually create the change that you want, right? If you're really upset by what's going on, or if you're really excited about what's going on, it's like, how can you step up and be more of a leader in your life? And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, this is the time for the feminine, and this is, people aren't ready for, a feminine and leader and all of these things. And that's one point of view, right? That's one point of view. But the truth is we need a leader for both. We need a leader for both. Right? It's not necessarily feminine leader. It's not necessarily male leader. And I'm sure you're going to be like, what is she talking about? She's all about sacred feminine. But really, it's about the unity of both. It truly is. It's truly a middle ground. And when you come to that middle ground, it's all about learning to understand a perspective that isn't yours. That's where growth happens. When you learn to expand your mind, when you learn to reframe what you thought was very true or what you held to be true and let someone else's opinion somewhat shape yours in a sense of helping you understand a perspective even deeper, that's when you connect to the heart. And that's what embodied feminine leadership means to me, is that when you are able to connect more deeply into your heart, when you are able to understand and have empathy, it's not about dominion, control, manipulation, competition, or anything like that. It's about learning to understand from a higher perspective of not getting caught in the emotions, even though many people say, oh, women are very emotional. It's like learning to work with the emotions and learning to understand when they're needed and learning to understand when we need to extract ourselves from it and understand that it needs to be principles before personalities. And so I really hope that you are taking care of yourself today. You're processing the emotions that come up however way you need to. Just, if it's really hard for you to do work, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. You don't need to be productive today if it's hard for you. You don't need to pretend. You don't need to put on a mask. You don't need to do anything. In fact, in one of the company that I'm consulting for, or contracting with, we put out a statement, right? Because we knew it might be hard for some people and giving people the option. So I just want you to give yourself grace for however you show up today, whether you're super excited and ready for it, or if you are just really upset, disheartened, and in complete shock and disbelief, right? And so I just invite you to tune in deep to your heart. I invite you to tune in and have empathy and learn to understand the other perspective that isn't yours. When we learn to connect with other people, when we learn to connect beyond our egoic mind, our egoic agenda, that's when we come to resolutions from a very clear-headed space. And if you want more support in this, I was going to launch this Black Friday, but I think this is a time when we all need it most. I am offering 1-hour donation-based EFT sessions. I will leave the link in the show notes. Book a call. You can gift it. Send the link. I want to share it with people for those that really need support in whatever capacity. I will be booking these out through January, so claim your spot. Anyways, I hope you take care of yourself, and I will be back tomorrow. Sat Nam.